So I remember walking down the street, and I was a teenager.
I was in my early 20s.
I guess you would say a tweenager.
My first experience with it actually in college.
And they whistled at me.
I remember somebody driving past and throwing something at me, yelling an epithet at me.
I distinctly remember being harassed on the street frequently.
And I'll never forget the street. It was 46th Street and Lenox Road in my neighborhood.
They made references to my body parts. They ignored who I was. They didn't know my name. I was a stranger to them.
It would always be an issue of how are we going to get past 46th Street? Either you could go around the block or you could go up and around. You could put your Walkman on and pretend that you were listening to it, or you'd walk with a friend, but no matter what, you were going to get harassed.
Fundamentally, I felt threatened by that. I didn't like being made to feel objectified. I didn't like being made to feel that the way that I dressed was provoking a reaction in someone else.
If you were interested in dating me, when you called me hey baby or hey sexy, it's not happening.
I certainly got angry, and I felt pretty upset by it.
I would say that it made me feel afraid. It made me feel that if I didn't handle the situation in a certain kind of way, that the situation could escalate. I feared not only for my physical safety, but also when you're that age, you also don't want to be humiliated.
As a straight white man, I'm the victim of street harassment a lot less than women and gay and lesbian and people of color. So it's more people telling me about it and just being horrified that there's a set of folks who don't have the freedom to walk around the streets, the neighborhood, the city without getting harassed.
It's important for us as women to, when we can and when we feel it's comfortable and when it's safe, to be able to interrupt that. Or sometimes as parents, when we see it happening, when we're with our children, to kind of point it out and say, as a young man, I don't want you to demean women in that way or to speak to them in this derogatory way, and that there is a better way to communicate.
You have every right to be comfortable in your own skin and who you are. And what we got to do together is stand up to it and work to get people who are all of us to not just be bystanders, but to stand up and say, we're not going to tolerate street harassment. Everybody's got to have the right to walk around our city in their own skin.
This is, not some harmless, victimless activity, or that it's part of the fabric of New York. It's not, and it's not okay, and it's not okay in any circumstance.
I'm a woman. I'm more than my body parts, more than the sum of my parts. And I'm a strong woman, and I need to be respected, and I will be respected, and I demand to be respected. I stand with women all throughout New York and all throughout this nation to say no to street harassment. I am more than my parts.